Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your friendly neighborhood Birdman here. I get a lot of questions about my Everything Wrong with CinemaSins series, from why do I do this thing to why don't I do that thing. So I thought I'd take time and make a video explaining the Everything Wrong with CinemaSins series. And that way you can use this video as a guide for, if you don't understand something. So let's get to it. So, why do I make everything wrong with CinemaSins? Well, I started out as huge fan of CinemaSins, and I still am a fan of CinemaSins. But there were a couple things that I saw in their Blade Runner 2049 video that I thought didn't make a whole lot of sense. And that was because, Blade Runner 2049 was one of my favorite movies of all time. I had just seen it in the theaters like 6 or 7 times. So I knew the movie like the back of my hand. And usually when I watch a CinemaSins video, it's for a movie I've probably seen maybe once, maybe twice. And I would watch a video and they would point out things that I might have missed. And I enjoyed the hell out of that. I loved people explaining to me things that just completely went over my head, or hey, maybe there's something wrong with this particular scene, like the coffee cup in Game of Thrones. But for me, it was like that was the value in it. So I, clicked on the new Everything Wrong with CinemaSins, or Everything Wrong with Blade Runner video, and I noticed that they were just not right about some things. So I just thought, wouldn't it be funny if I did to them what they do to movies? And I made an Everything Wrong with CinemaSins Blade Runner 2049 video, and that's why. It's just I wanted to make fun of them in the way that they were making fun of movies, but point out some things that they might have missed, and that was the original concept behind Everything Wrong with CinemaSins. So Birdman is a character that I came up with to represent me. A lot of people ask me, hey, why do you have the name Birdman? And I really don't know why. It was a childhood nickname that just sort of stuck, and they would call me Birdman, not the Birdman. And I think it has something to do with my very large beak. That's what I think.
Big honking crown nose, eh?
So when Xbox 360 came out, because I had an Xbox 360 before I had a PlayStation 3, they asked you, they were like, hey, what's your gamer tag? So I used my nickname. I just used Birdman, but then, it has to be like alphanumeric. So I went with TH3 Birdman 15, because 15 is my favorite number due to Amazing Fantasy number 15, which is Spider-Man's first appearance in comic books. So that's where the name The Birdman came from. And then the 15, which is I use on all my social media, is my favorite number. So that's where that name came from. And my character, Birdman, is based on me. He's not exactly like me, but he's, I want to say like 85% me. And then there are some embellishments that I do with the character. But anyway, he is a character in the CinemaSins, Everything Wrong with CinemaSins videos. So Birdman, the Birdman. Birdman, the Birdman. They're two separate entities, okay? Birdman, the character, came about just like as a reaction to Jeremy, the character. I know you guys don't really realize this, or not every one of you, but a lot of you don't realize that Jeremy Scott, the creator of CinemaSins, is playing a character also named Jeremy Scott. So that's, where Birdman comes from. It's a play on that. It's the Birdman character reacting to the Jeremy character. So yeah, Birdman started out as just this huge fan of CinemaSins like me, and he kind of got fed up with some of the things that CinemaSins got wrong. So he was like, I'm gonna nitpick them the way that they nitpick movies, and that's that's the character. Now, I've always said that the criticism is real. The criticism comes from the Birdman, okay? But Birdman speaks out the criticism, and Birdman embellishes it. You know, he's kind of an asshole. He's kind of a dick to the Jeremy character, and I think that stuff is funny. But that's not the Birdman. That's, you know, I don't really feel, you know, these things towards Jeremy Scott. I actually think he's a pretty cool guy, and I like the sort of you know, he's all about like suicide prevention. Like, that stuff is cool. You know what I mean? Like, that's good stuff. So Jeremy as a person, it doesn't bother me. Jeremy the character, however, bothers Birdman the character. So I hope that you know, you can now delineate between the two. So Future Birdman is a play on the multiverse. You know, I kind of came up with that idea back in 2018. Future Birdman's first appearance is actually Everything Wrong with CinemaSins, The Cloverfield Paradox. Yeah, that's his first appearance in the series. And I don't even know what sparked the idea of Future Birdman. It was just, you know, I'm just writing, and I just thought, hey, it'd be funny if, you know, Birdman met a future version of himself. And obviously the future version of himself would be so far into the sinning of CinemaSins that he would just be really jaded. And that's where the voice comes from. You know, Future Birdman, he sort of talks like this, and he's just really fucking sick and tired of CinemaSins' bullshit. And there was some sort of catalyst that transformed him from this into this.
We only have enough fuel for 3 more firings.
Always the fucking fuel, man.
Jeremy references The Last Jedi. You can expect thumbs down for simply mentioning it because— Wait, Birdman. You've already said that in a previous video. I did? Which one? And who are you? The Ready Player One video, and I'm you from the future. Anyway, you gotta come up with a better one. Okay. I've got it. Ready? On 3. 1, 2, 3. Jeremy has run out of material cliche.
And if you watch the Everything Wrong with CinemaSins house party video, you then learn how Future Birdman came about. But the thing is, in my storyline, is that there are multiple universes, multiple timelines, and Future Birdman that you see in the original videos is different from the Birdman that is in this current timeline. They're not exactly the same person. They're just like multiversal variants of the same person, although Future Birdman is just slightly ahead of our Birdman. But yeah, in the house party video, I finally revealed what made Birdman transition into Future Birdman. So if you want to see that transition, watch that video. Future Birdman has ascended to a higher level of existence, and I made a video about that, and you, like a very small video, you can watch that and see the two Future Birdmen interacting with each other, and then a slight explanation on what's going on with Future Birdman, or past Future Birdman, and what he's currently doing, and I'll be doing some things with that. So I know it seems a little convoluted, but that's why we're here explaining it. Current Future Birdman is the original Birdman that we were seeing in the old videos, and now we are in a new timeline with a new Birdman. So you might notice that they have a little bit of banter back and forth, and that has to do with the fact that the current Birdman is he's not exactly the same person as, you know, Future Birdman's original Birdman. We're dealing with different versions of the same character, so like that's the little banter. And current Birdman, he rather says talks to the screen cliche, whereas, you know, Future Birdman and Ascended Birdman, that's what we're calling the old Future Birdman, they go with, you know, yells at the screen cliche. So that came about, that whole joke came about because people were saying he's not actually yelling at the screen. So I just kind of like, you know, blended that in to the whole mythos and into the joke. And another one that I'd like to explain is past Birdman or old Birdman, whatever you want to call him. We refer to him as OB or old Birdman. A lot of people don't really seem to get that character, so I'm just going to take the time to explain. Whenever you see green subtitles on the screen, that is OB. Okay, different from PB or present Birdman or FB, future Birdman. OB is a play on when I first started this series. You know, I wasn't as engaging on the microphone as I am now. So the character is just kind of not really a monotone, but just like really even keeled in his sort of way of speaking. It's not as vibrant and as like over the top as present Birdman, or it's not as sour and dark and dour as future Birdman is yet, because he hasn't yet experienced the catalyst that will turn him into this voice. The reason he uses green subtitles is because of the old idiom that you're green or new. So that's the concept behind the green subtitle. So when you see green, it's OB. Now, people have correctly deduced who that character is, but like it was like accidentally on purpose, or like mission failed successfully. Like what I mean by that is that they say that that is future Birdman, but they say that because of the voice. They think that that voice is the same as the future Birdman voice, but it's not. It's like a subtle difference. You probably wouldn't hear it unless like maybe you were listening over headphones. But I originally started recording that voice with the Blue Yeti microphone, which is the microphone that I started the series with. I wanted it to have like a genuine original sound compared to like my original videos. But then I wound up using this microphone. I don't know why, but like this microphone just sounds better to me, and it picks up more of the room, which is the point. Like when you actually watch the videos with the green subtitles or OB videos, you will see, or you will hear if you're listening with headphones, that the audio is really bad, and that's done on purpose. There will be like some audio splices in there, and you'll hear the echo of the room like you're currently on this microphone. I have a whole booth when I'm doing future Birdman or present Birdman, and you won't hear the room. The audio will be crisp and clear and as good as I can get it. But that's the point, is to represent when I first started the series, where I didn't have a treated room or I didn't have a treated space, and I was using, you know, a not so great microphone. So like that's the concept behind that character. It is future Birdman, but it's future Birdman when he first started. Future Birdman is the original character, by the way. A lot of you don't realize that that's the story. So when we get to the Cloverfield Paradox video, that's a new Birdman, but that's the one you guys are most familiar with. You associate that Birdman with this series, and actually he's the second. FB is the original. So the Blade Runner 2049 video, that's FB, but he had a catalyst that changed him into the voice that he has. So like that's the point. I know it's kind of confusing. It's like all over the place, the way that I'm explaining it, but hopefully you understand what I'm saying. Green subtitles is future Birdman, but when he first started. So we refer to him as old Birdman or original Birdman or past Birdman, whatever you want to call him. That's that character. So obviously the other characters are me doing the voices of other characters, and they're supposed to represent just different aspects of like my existence in reality. My favorite Dragon Ball character is Vegeta, so I have Bird Vegeta.
You rank amateurs. Everyone knows the best Pixar film is The Incredibles. Have you seen Elastigirl's?
And then there's Stan. Stan is a character that represents the audience. So Stan's subtitles will be in yellow. He's supposed to represent you. And what I mean by you, I mean the people that are in my comment section that try to correct me. They might say, oh, actually this thing, or actually you're wrong about this. So that's where the concept of Stan comes from.
Actually, Actually, I'm a real boy like Pinocchio. Birdman thinks that he just made me up, but no, I actually exist.
And then there are like the various characters that I do. Like I've done Yoda, I've done Solid Snake, I've done Bird Patine, which is a character that I'm actually going to be bringing back. And then, Darth Penguin. Get it? Darth Penguin. I am a voice actor in real life, so I like to incorporate that talent into my videos just to make people laugh. I don't do it all the time. I don't want to distract from the criticism that I'm trying to levy against CinemaSins, but I'll do it every now and again, and I think it kind of spices up the videos a little bit. So I decided to make this section because a lot of people don't really understand that the criticism is real, the antics are not. Like, this needs its own section, I feel. Let me say this with my own mouth, my own face. I am not being serious when I'm yelling and cursing and saying Jeremy, likes to make love to his cousin. Obviously, those are not real critiques. It's just a joke. I am a sit-down comedian. Or really, I stand up these days to do my voiceovers. I originally started like sitting down, but now I have like a whole booth, so I'm actually a stand-up comedian now. But it's just comedy. I'm just literally trying to make people laugh. It's not serious. The criticism itself, when I say, hey, you're manipulating a scene, or this was a lie, or hey, you didn't understand this thing, that's real. And if there's anything you want to criticize me on, maybe fact check me on that stuff. But I'm pretty good at paying attention, and I triple and quadruple check my own work. So you'll have a tough time trying to criticize me there. For all you people that say I should make everything wrong with CinemaSins, like, good luck, motherfucker. But I've received criticism for, seemingly hating on CinemaSins because my characters can come across as aggressive. And I'm just letting you know, like, that's just the character. I really don't feel that shit. I'm just making jokes. I'm trying to make people laugh. I am trying to entertain people while also delivering criticism, because I feel like if you were to deliver that criticism, but not like in a dry manner, it wouldn't be as entertaining. I don't think I would have lasted as long. I feel like people would have checked out after a while. I'm sure there's some people that like pure, flat out, straight up criticism. But I feel like the general audience, they want to be entertained as well as informed. And that's what I try to do. So the Birdman character is just, it's a character that I'm playing, and he's trying to be funny. And sometimes he succeeds, and then sometimes he doesn't with certain people, like Christians. Now, to tell you the truth, I am an atheist. There was a phase in my life where I really wanted to debate Christianity. I was born and raised a Christian in South Central LA, and I had an upbringing where it wasn't an option to believe or not. You believe, like, that's it. And that my family still does. Like, I think I might be the only atheist in my immediate family and my like one level extended family. I don't know about anybody else, but I'm like the only atheist in the family, I think. But I have a history of being a Christian, so I kind of know how to rile up Christians, because I was one, and I'll say certain things just to fuck with y'all. But it's just the character being the character, and it's just meant to be funny. But people will then try to check me in my comment section, and that's when the real me will come out, and I'll go, no, like, here's the evidence we have for X, or here's the evidence we have for Y. But like, I see people in my comment section all the time, oh, you're a Reddit atheist. I thought that went out of style in 2016. And it's like, no, the truth never goes out of style, motherfucker. That's why you're here on my video. But again, calm down. It's all for comedy's sake, guys. Like, relax. I'm just trolling, man. Like, that's what the character, I mean, he looks like a troll, right? Doesn't Blanca look like a troll? Wow, I get this quite often, and I can kind of understand where people are coming from when they say that about me, and just my personal feelings on it is that's not true. I mean, I'm not an MCU fanboy. I'm an MCU fan. I like the MCU. I'm a Marvel fanboy. There's a difference between Marvel Universe and Marvel Cinematic Universe. The C is the difference. Like, okay, I grew up with Marvel comics. That's my jam. I love Marvel's books. But ultimately, I am a fan of graphic novels and comic books as a whole. So I love DC's books. I'm not as educated on DC's books as I could be. I'm much more of a Batman fan, and I just like to read Batman stuff. So like, you know, I don't really read Flash or Wonder Woman. I've dabbled in Superman. I think Batman's a better character. Don't sue me. But for me, it's more about the books. I'm a fan of the work and the character work that goes on in the actual comics themselves. Like if you read Invincible, I'm not going to say totally different from the show, but it's different, and I think it's worth checking out both. But like the thing is, as far as genre is concerned, I'm much more of an SF fan, science fiction, than anything else. I'm a science fiction guy. So if anything, you can claim I am a science fiction, speculative fiction, science fantasy fanboy than MCU fanboy. Like I prefer science fiction to the MCU all day and tomorrow. It's not even close. However, you know, the MCU does have science fiction elements, and, you know, I appreciate those. But again, I started the series because of Blade Runner, guys. That's my third favorite movie. But I suppose because I talk so much about the MCU that people go, oh, you know, you're a fanboy. And I'm just like, look, guys, look. We are in a generation where the MCU is our Star Wars. It's our Star Wars. Back in the 70s and the 80s, everybody was talking about Star Wars. Everybody was dissecting Star Wars, and, you know, film critics were going nuts over it. Like, that's that generation. And maybe prior to that, you had Star Trek, you know, in the 60s. But for this generation, it's the MCU. So everybody's talking about the MCU. You know, as far as my videos are concerned, the MCU produced the videos that have the most views for me. I have a couple videos that are 1 million or approaching 1 million views, which is amazing for a creator of my size. And, you know, it just happened to be MCU, Infinity War. I don't really have any control over that. I don't force people to watch the videos. It's just, that's what y'all want to talk about. So I talk about it. And being like, I have a unique perspective because I'm a comic book fan, so I can talk about these things in an entertaining way, I think, and an informative way. And I think that's why people gravitate towards my work. But, you know, I'm not just going out there like, oh, he did an MCU movie, I gotta get to it. Because, like, there are a ton of MCU movies I still haven't done. Like, I think Iron Man 2, I haven't done Ant-Man and the Wasp as of this video, but it's coming. But seriously, like, if you look at my track record, I defend the DCEU, and I know that's like sacrilege amongst MCU fanboys, but my thing is I support all comic book properties. Like, I want more, you know. I'm not tired of it. I see people go, oh, I'm so tired of comic book properties. I'm like, leave, bitch. Go. What's stopping you? What's holding you here? Why do you feel compelled to talk about it? But it goes back to what I said. Comic book properties, people love to talk about them. People love to hear about them. Those get a ton of views on YouTube. So that's why people who claim to hate comic book movies or the MCU continue to talk about them. It makes them money. It's just disingenuous. For me, again, I'm just a comic book fan. I can prove it. I got both editions of the Marvel encyclopedias. I have a book that's literally nothing but Thanos stories. Like the entire book is nothing but Thanos. I'm reading through The Boys. I've actually read The Watchmen. I got Spider-Gwen books. What's up? How many of y'all even know what Devil's Reign is? I got a bunch of graded comics. I read Japanese manga. Oh, look at that. It's Batman Earth 1 by Jeff Johns, the complete collection. It's almost like I read Batman books. And I really love this book. I don't even know who this is by, Matthew Babelet, but this was fantastic. This is Carbon and Silicon. And man, I wish that this was like a series. This was a great read. He has another book that I saw in the comic book store. I'm gonna have to go back and get that. See, so the point is, like, I actually am into comic books. So that's the perspective that I bring. And it's obviously not all just Marvel. A lot of it is Marvel, but that's just my favorite company as far as comics books are concerned. But I'll read books from anybody. It doesn't matter. As long as the story's good, I'll read it. And then there's the things that I just feel people don't understand. So I want to give them a little bit of understanding. One of my favorites is Jeremy makes a pop culture reference that isn't a sin of the film cliche. And what you'll notice is when I say that, sometimes I'll cut it off. Now, I've had people criticize me for bad editing, and I'm like, I'm obviously doing that on purpose. Now, if you want to know the origin of that joke, it is in the Jurassic World video. And it was Jeremy making so many pop culture references, and then I would say, Jeremy makes a pop culture reference that isn't a sin of the film cliche. And I had to say it so many times that it's like, do you get it? Like, this is what he does. So the joke became, all right, Jeremy makes and then you cut it off because he does it so many times that you don't want to hear the entire thing. And then I play around with it where, you know, sometimes I'll play the whole thing and just kind of subvert your expectations because you're probably expecting me to cut it off, and then I'll cut it off in different areas. So Jeremy makes a pop culture or Jeremy makes a pop culture reference that isn't a sin of the, and it just cuts off right there. And then there's the Jeremy says boner. That came about in the second video I ever made. It was the homecoming video, and it was just, you know, kind of similar to the pop culture reference thing where Jeremy says boner in so many videos that it's like, okay, dude, like, Jesus Christ, like, I'm just gonna send you for saying that word now, or anything close to that word. So if he says like dick, then I might give him 10 cents for Jeremy saying boner. Oh, this one, this is, okay. The padding the sin count, bro. I love that gag so much when I first came up with it. The first video that came about was the Infinity War video. And it just so happens that it happened during a time where Thanos was choking the life out of Loki. So it seemed like I was trying to make the crunch sound, but that's not what it was. It's just a great coincidence. But that joke is a reference to Brad Pitt. In Fight Club, Brad Pitt was on the phone with Edward Norton in a scene. He called him from a payphone, and you'll hear him nonchalantly chewing on potato chips in that scene. That was the inspiration for that joke. It was just, it's just like I'm channeling Brad Pitt energy, and it was supposed to be like, oh, you know, you pad the sin count, bro. Like, he's just bored of him padding the sin count, and just, I don't know, it just kind of evolved into what it is today. You know, some people have a problem with it. I don't care if you have a problem with it. I make these videos, not you. If you have a problem with it, so. And another thing, I don't actually eat chips when I do that. There was one or two times I did eat chips while doing the gag, and I think they were like Tostitos, hint of lime. But generally, I'm eating cereal. I found that a specific kind of cereal gave a better crunch. So that was that's the explanation behind that joke. And lastly, there's one thing that I'd like to talk about that I do in my videos that I've received like real criticism for, and that is and this is kind of difficult to explain, so like bear with me. I use the film's logic, and I uphold the film's logic against CinemaSins. Again, I've received criticism for doing this because I think we live in a time where people believe that they get to determine the logic of films, and that they believe they can say that a film's logic is incorrect. Personally, I have a problem with that. My problem is the creator gets to make the rules of their world. That's what I truly believe. I am a creator myself. I have rules in my videos. I'm currently writing a comic book, and I'm creating the rules of that. And I would hate for someone to try to fucking tell me how to do my own characters in my own world that I invented. So I wouldn't even say it's coming from a place of subjectivity where I feel attacked because I'm also a creator. It's more so like that's the logic that has been presented. Therefore, we should abide by that logic. I've gotten into trouble with other content creators because, my take on magic and rules. Again, my position is to accept the framework with which a film or a story presents its universe, to accept that and use that and talk about that. Obviously, when you are writing a review for something, you can, criticize the world building aspect of fiction, right? But like that's on an out of universe level that is doylist. Whereas I, in my videos, work in the Watsonian perspective, and that's using the logic as presented in universe. So for me, I feel like that's just a better way to approach those things. Like I had a recent comment interaction with a fan about my usage of the word cyborg for the Terminators, which, okay, in our reality, the Terminators without skin could be called robots. I think that's fair. But in its universe, they're referred to cyborgs. Now, his point of contention was that at the end of the film, his skin had burned off and now he is thus a robot. I appreciate your logic. I really do. And if it were reality, I would accept your claim. My problem is the film refers to it as a cyborg in the film. And that's the framework that I work under, is to use the film's logic and only usurp it when it is like blatantly egregious or it makes sense for specific criticism. But overall, my position is to remain in that framework and work in that framework. So yeah, I've gotten into trouble with that take, and I'm cool with people having a different approach, but like these are my videos, and that's what I do in my videos. If you want to, use an out of universe criticism for something that happens in universe, make a video. But here at the Birdman, that's not what we do. So I just hope I explain that in a way that helps you understand. And, maybe it didn't. I kind of rambled, but that's my take on it. And that's how I will continue to operate in these videos. Okay, so hopefully you have a better understanding of the Everything Wrong with CinemaSins videos. If there's any niggling little, thing bothering you, please let me know in the comment section. I'll try to get to you. I do read all my comments. You guys are probably familiar with that, but those of you who are like new to the channel, you probably don't know that I try to respond to as many people as I can. You'll probably usually see me responding to a lot of negative comments, but I typically respond to those because I don't want like a virus to spread. And what I mean by that is a lot of people who don't understand what it is that I do, they'll try to say something, and then other people that don't understand what I do, they'll, latch onto it and upvote it. Then it'll seem like I was bullshitting. So I just try to nip that in the bud and, let people know what the real is. Or, if somebody just says, hey, you're nothing to CinemaSins, you're a 200,000 subscriber to a 9 million, as if that remotely matters. I feel like the truth doesn't matter if it's one person saying it or 9 million people saying it. So that's why I will reply to a lot of negative comments, but I do respond to positive ones or just questions. Like if you have a question of why I do this or why I do that, just let me know and I'll try to get back to you. So anyway, this has been your friendly neighborhood Birdman, and I hope that you have a better understanding of the Everything Wrong with CinemaSins series. Next up, Avatar. Peace.